Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Carey Center in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Today on the PAC Sports Network, the Thomas More Saints visit the St. Vincent Bearcats. I'm Randy Gore along with Justin Piles for today's contest. And in this men's affair, it's a rematch of last year's PAC championship game on the same floor here at the Carey Center. And these two teams, once again, are amongst the top of the President's Athletic Conference. St. Vincent undefeated in conference play, 6-0. They're 13-2 overall. Thomas More 5-1 in conference play. They're 6-9 overall, but don't let the overall record mislead you because this is a very good Thomas More team. And they have won 4 straight to begin the new year, all in league play. The Bearcats are the hottest team in the conference with a 9-game winning streak. And really, quite simply, these are the 2 hottest teams in the PAC doing battle here today.
Yeah, Thomas More 1 3-point loss away in their conference opener at Grove City from being undefeated in conference. And this could be an even bigger clash than it already is. But both these teams have their eye on first place. St. Vincent right now sitting in first place by themselves because they just knocked off Bethany last week. And so they're sitting good right now, but they know they're going to have to see the Bison again down the road, and they have the Saints here today. So, definitely a good fight at the top of the PAC men's standings, nearing the halfway point of the season.
St. Vincent leads the all-time series with Thomas More at 9-7. Team split regular season meetings last year. Thomas More winning at home 64-59. St. Vincent winning at home 88-79 in overtime. And then, of course, the championship game in which St. Vincent won 81-67. Chris Klimchak, who's now an assistant coach with the Bearcats, had 22 points in that championship victory. And last year's title run for St. Vincent, they defeated Waynesburg, W&J, and then Thomas More for the PAC crown. Lost to Ohio Wesleyan in the NCAA first round. The Saints have appeared in the PAC title game the last 2 seasons. We talked with some of the Thomas More players, and we talked on air previously amongst ourselves that the Saints have been to the title game the last 2 seasons, but have not been able to win it. They lost at Bethany 2 years ago, and then here at St. Vincent last year. Obviously, the goal for Thomas More this season is to not just to get to the title game, but to come away as PAC champions. And today's game, while it certainly doesn't achieve that, it would give them or aid them in that effort. Is a victory here at St. Vincent would benefit them because who knows how things might play out later on. Thomas More might be on their own home floor rather than playing on the road in the title game, down the road. But as we said, we've got a long way to go before we get to that point. But it could, as far as Thomas More is concerned, could very much help them in those matters.
And that's the beauty of these conference games. A game in January, it's important, and the magnitude of it might be that much greater when it comes down to the end of February, and there's a 1-game difference, there's a 0-game difference, as was last year on this floor. At the end of the year, you have a game where winner take all, winner gets to host the conference tournament, and I tell you, that home court advantage last year here in this Carey Center really benefited St. Vincent. And a very talented basketball team, don't get me wrong, but anytime you can have a talented basketball team play in front of a crowd like that, that just adds a whole other dimension that the visitors have to deal with and helps energize the home team.
Well, as it was known last year, cram the Carey. And that slogan has been maintained into this season as well, as it's actually Fiesta Day at the Carey Center. Some of the folks in the crowd donning their Fiesta apparel, or I see a piñata brought over by the student body, and who knows what else might be in the crowd by day's end. There tends to be a stuffed animal or two. And I see the St. Vincent cheerleaders have donned their sombreros. I'm wondering when we have been given chips, no salsa, but I understand why no salsa at the scores table. So I'm okay with that.
Salsa's okay as long as I get a bib or napkins or maybe a tablecloth with that.
Well, when the basketball came flying through our area in the women's game, I'll step aside from the salsa. I'm okay with just chips, but I'm wondering where if we'll get the complimentary sombreros at any point. That would be great. But nonetheless, I can fit it over my headset. I'll find a way.
There you go.
But we are about a minute away from the national anthem and starting lineups to be introduced here at the Carey Center in what will be a very exciting contest, I'm sure. Again, this is a rematch of last year's championship game on the same floor here at the Carey Center. And Thomas More looking for a measure of revenge today. St. Vincent looking to continue their 9-game winning streak as well as conference winning streak. The last time the Bearcats had lost, it was to Thomas More. However, that was at Thomas More. So it was actually over a year ago on January 12th. The Bearcats fell at Thomas More. January 12th, 2013. It was a 64-59 final. That's the last time St. Vincent has lost to a PAC foe. Well, as we approach time for the national anthem at the Carey, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups of the opening tip on the PAC Sports Network.
It affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Main Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
And we are back at the Carey Center, the Thomas More Saints and the St. Vincent Bearcats doing battle this afternoon on Fiesta Day at the Carey Center. And let's give you the starting lineups for both teams. We'll start first with the Thomas More Saints, led by first-year head coach Drew Cooper. Number 3, 5'11" senior DeCarlo Hayes. Number 11, 6-foot senior Spencer Burlekamp. Number 21, 6'2" junior Drew Mumford. Number 33, 6'2" senior Brandon Housley. And number 45, 6'1" senior Joseph Marshall. Again for the Saints, it's Hayes, Burlekamp, Mumford, Housley, and Marshall. For the St. Vincent Bearcats, led by head coach D.P. Harris in his 11th year. Number 5, 6'2" sophomore J.C. Howard. Number 22, 6'2" senior Isaac Turner. Number 31 is 5'9" sophomore Ben Klimchak. Number 32, 6'5" senior Dylan Stite. And number 45, 6'5" junior Sean Kett. The St. Vincent Bearcats now being introduced, the homestanding squad in their home white uniforms with the green numerals and lettering and gold trim. The visiting Thomas More Saints in their road blue uniforms with the white numerals and lettering in gray trim. Those your starting lineups today, brought to you by Sport Clips. Again for the Saints, Hayes, Burlingame, Mumford, Housley, Marshall. For the Bearcats, Howard, Turner, Klimchuk, Stite, and Kett. Today's starting lineups brought to you by Sport Clips. Also, our triple three-point shooters today. Tri-County Patriots for independent living. The Thomas More Saints, DeCarlo Hayes, the top shooter from the outside. He's 31 of 77, good for 40% on the season. And for St. Vincent, it's Isaac Turner, 30 of 72 for a 42% clip in 2013-2014. Your triple three-point shooters, DeCarlo Hayes and Isaac Turner.
Be a couple guys to watch, not just outside, but inside as well. Both can create their own shot, both like to get to the rim, and when they get hacked, a couple of the best free throw shooters around. Now look for them to be a big part of the success or potential success of each team here this afternoon. We've seen DeCarlo Hayes on this floor put Thomas More on his back. We've seen Isaac Turner on this floor put St. Vincent on his back. So even though there's a lot of talent out here on the floor, look for those guys to be a huge influence this afternoon.
Ball in the air, opening tip, won by the St. Vincent Bearcats as it's corralled by Isaac Turner. J.C. Howard, the sophomore guard, gets a quick return pass from Sean Kett. Bounce pass baseline. Dylan Stite, shot blocked by Brandon Housley. Loose ball, though, to Klimchuk. Short on the shot off the side of the rim. Rebound Stite, offensive glass. Back outside, swing it around, and slow it up for the moment. Isaac Turner around a screen from Kett.
That's a battle inside that St. Vincent has to win, has a big advantage. Dylan Stite and Sean Kett down low. Just size-wise, wingspan-wise, these guys are big targets for those entry passes into the post. They have an arsenal of moves inside and can step outside and make a jump shot. So very, very tough to contain them. Thomas More at a little bit of a disadvantage size-wise inside. You'll see Brandon Housley fall around Dylan Stite. He's their best interior defender.
Joseph Marshall with a foul, his first, as we've just begun this contest. Sean Kett at the line, misses the first free throw. Second try is good. First point on the board, 1-0, St. Vincent.
And immediately pressure from St. Vincent. They're going to harass the Saints ball handlers, whether it's DeCarlo Hayes or Spencer Burlingame, passing back and forth as they cross the timeline.
Drew Mumford, who's been outstanding for Thomas More. Now it's DeCarlo Hayes. Bounce pass free throw line area to Marshall. Juggles but hangs on, out to Burlingame. Now the intensity here at the Carey Center brought forth early. DeCarlo Hayes misses on the three-pointer. Howard will turn and burn, passes it off to Klimchuk, out to Turner. Drives in, left side off the glass, 3-0 St. Vincent.
And that's Isaac Turner. You have to respect his jump shot, so you have to get in his face, and he blows right around you. As soon as you do that, can find the hole, an easy lay-in.
Spencer Burlingame will slow it up in the half court. DeCarlo Hayes from the right of the elbow. Around the perimeter. As you mentioned, Justin, the height advantage certainly with St. Vincent, as there's a steal on the cross-court effort by Turner. Nice dish, Howard with the right-handed lay-in. 5-0 St. Vincent.
Beautiful transition game by the Bearcats. Feeding off this crowd, being able to run the floor like that.
DeCarlo Hayes out to Burlingame near the half-court stripe. More of a methodical approach from the smaller Saints.
Saints aren't even looking inside. Every time they do it's a turnover, trying to force passes. They really just worked it around the perimeter. Just any time they try to pass into the interior, that defense collapses and the Bearcats force the turnover.
By my quick count, 3 trips up the floor, only 1 shot for Thomas More. The other 2 trips have resulted in turnovers.
You're correct.
The dribble off the foot of Howard goes to Burleycamp. Now 2-on-1. Bounce pass Hayes right back to Burleycamp. Won't drop. Tip in is good for Brandon Housley. And a timeout for Drew Cooper and the Thomas More Saints. We'll keep it here as we're in the early stages. 5-2 St. Vincent with the lead. And with that turnover there by Howard that was transitioned into a bucket ultimately by Brandon Housley. You like the initial part of that play. DeCarlo Hayes was in a bad spot midair, was able to dish it off then off the juggle to Burleycamp while his attempt didn't go. Housley, who's back for the second half of the season, returning to injury, you see what he brings because he's already had a block shot tonight. And then with that tip in, while he's at 6'2", certainly much smaller than a lot of the St. Vincent players, he plays bigger than his size. You got a little look at that.
Absolutely, and he's useful at both ends. You can see him score, you can see him rebound, defend. But one of the best all-around players, not just on their team, in the conference. I really like the way he plays. And he's kind of at a disadvantage a little bit on the Saints team just because he's expected to match up like in this game with the Dylan Stite. So already at a disadvantage, but we saw that block shot moments ago.
5-2 our score. Howard from the left side finds resistance from Mumford, backs it off. Turner juggles the ball away, trying to go through a double team, and now DeCarlo Hayes passes it off to Mumford, but he travels. And you hear the student body here from the Carey Center for the first time today. Oh, I see Uncle Si and Mike Tomlin are in the crowd tonight. The giant heads, of course. It's not the real guys.
Mike Tomlin does hang out here during the summer, though.
Yeah, that's right. St. Vincent, the home of Pittsburgh Steelers training camp. After a miss by St. Vincent, it's a 3-point game. Thomas More with a chance to cut in or tie the game on this possession. Still in the very early going. Burleycamp knifes in for the left-handed lay-in. It's a 5-4 game.
Now too easy down that left side. No one really stepped up to cut him off from the hoop, so easy left-handed finish by Burleycamp. Breakdown defensively by the Bearcats.
Turner juggles, but has the ball poked free. I believe it was Burleycamp who last touched that, so it will be retained by St. Vincent. As DP Harris to our right, hollering out instructions to his squad on the floor. Lobbed an inbounds pass to Stite. Loses the ball. It ends up in the hands of Howard, but I believe we have a foul upcoming. Let's see. That'll be on Burleycamp. That's the first on Burleycamp. Second on the Saints.
Physical game so far. A lot of contact down low. And, grabbing, hand checking going on in the paint.
Isaac, yellow run the play. Passing game, let's go.
Pass to Stite. Spins through 2 gentlemen, then is fouled on the way up in between Housley and Marshall.
That's a matchup definitely to exploit if you're St. Vincent. Stite in the post, get him in that low post. He can do so much. He can fade away, knock down a jumper, step back. He can take it right to the hole, get fouled.
Stite, the second team All-PAC member from a year ago, swishes the first free throw. He and Isaac Turner over the 1,000 point mark in their careers here at St. Vincent.
22.
Stite, 6'5", 215-pounder from Bedford, Virginia. Gets the second one to drop off the front of the rim, the backboard, and through the nylon. 7-4, St. Vincent. Full court defense, but breaking the pressure. Pitch and catch between Burleycamp and Hayes in the forecourt. Hayes with some instructions for his teammates through the high decibel level at the Carey Center. Mumford, Hayes. St. Vincent bringing out the defense is Thomas More with the new approach from first-year head coach Drew Cooper. They tend to stay patient, and at the shot clock buzzer, DeCarlo Hayes ties the game.
Now Saints are in a bad way offensively. No real penetration from them, just working along the outside. Someone had to take a shot. Hayes just kind of had a look at it, but it was more or less just kind of threw it up. And went in as the shot clock expired.
Yeah, if you're St. Vincent, you did everything right defensively there, but Thomas More still hit the tray. Tie game, under 15 minutes to play in the first half. It's stumbling about Sean Kett, but he's knocked off his feet with a foul, and that on Housley. That's his second. Keep your eye on that. Already 2 fouls on Housley under the 15-minute mark.
He'll check out, I believe, and Chris Richard and Jalen Clark will check in. Richard is one of those bodies off the bench that gives a little more size to this Saints team. 6'4". He'll probably take the spot of Housley, defending some of the interior players for St. Vincent.
Yeah, Richard, the team leader in rebounds, averaging 4.1 per game, has 57 for the season. And you're not going to see any one Saint dominate the rebound statistic, as there's the teardrop from Dylan Stipe. But Chris Richard and Brandon Housley do their best to try and muscle up some rebounds. And right now, Housley on the bench, as we talked about, with 2 fouls. 2-point game. Mumford guarded tightly by Stipe. Clark out to Mumford, swinging around Burlingame.
I really like the way the Saints rotate, or the Bearcats rotated there. Mumford down the lane, found a little bit of space for that lay-in, but really like the way they rotated on that perimeter defense. A lot of times you'll see that ball swung quickly, and the defense won't be able to react, and you'll see a jump shot or a 3-point attempt wide open. But that time, St. Vincent able to rotate over Isaac Turner right in the face of a potential shooter.
Ultimately, though, Mumford, the cutter, gets the bucket, but a reply by Isaac Turner to give the Bearcats the lead back, 11-9. Jalen Clark out to Mumford. Pass off the foot of Isaac Turner. Kickball. And a media timeout. And last I checked, we were the media, or at least one of the media members here today. So we're going to pause for a break as well. 11-9 St. Vincent. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
Seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
Back at the Carey Center. 2-point lead for St. Vincent. Glad you can be with us today on the PAC Sports Network. I'm Randy Gorlong with Justin Piles. Shannon Basic, our producer today, and Don Sluka, our cameraman. And Kat Guyan, also a part of our broadcast crew today, although she's in the crowd doing work on an upcoming feature on the crazies here at the Carey.
I honestly have no idea what you just said. I had my headset off, and I wasn't listening to you at all, just paying attention to the crowd behind us. Well, sorry about that.
That's all. I was talking about the crowd behind us,
That's
and
great.
actually that Kat Guyan is in the crowd today doing work on a future feature. Thomas More with the offense, passing about, and again, this is the look from Drew Cooper's group this year, is right before the shot clock, almost spitting in. Well, what do we have here? We have a foul on the back end. As putting up the 3-point try was Nate McGovney, and then was fouled at the end of that play. It was a late whistle.
Very late.
And DP Harris wants an explanation for that, but the whistle came from, he's getting an explanation from the official on the near side, but the whistle came from the far side from our broadcast perspective, opposite from our camera view.
It wasn't late enough, apparently, to not have free throw attempts coming, so McGovney will have, I guess, 3 shots being fouled on a 3-pointer. Still didn't see really what the foul was. It was on Pat Jones, I believe, right?
Yes. Pat Jones, the 6'3" sophomore. Second free throw, also good for McGovney. 6'2" freshman, big contributor. They like to bring 10 points per game off your bench. That's what Drew Cooper can do with Nate McGovney. And again, as a freshman yet. McGovney, an 87% free throw shooter. Most of the Saints are deadly at the free throw line, although he misses on the third. Now the broadcaster's jinx, of course. 2 of 3 on that trip for McGovney. We're tied 11 up.
That last possession, after going zone the first couple of looks when Thomas More had the ball. St. Vincent went man.
Turner with a miss, rebound Richard. Pushing the floor, Drew Mays. Richard to Mumford right at the elbow, dribbles in on Stite and passes it out of bounds. Looking for McGovney, but that was perhaps closer to the trumpet player than it was the McGovney. The St. Vincent band located in that area. Probably hard to see from our camera perspective up in the perch. Pat Jones, guarded by Mumford. Pass was tipped by Mumford, but eventually hauled in by the Bearcats. Three-pointer no good for Turner. Rebound Richard. Mays circles in, then right back out as J.C. Howard chases him about. Mumford to Clark. Now McGovney. Mays in the paint. Will dish it off to McGovney. 15-footer, back of the iron, rebound Howard. 12-minute mark of the first half. We're tied 11-all. Dylan Stite, the floater, the bucket, and the foul. Stite with 6. He averages 18 points per game. The team leader for the Bearcats in rebounding and tied for the team lead in block shots, along with Sean Kett. Each have 17.
Also recently picked up his 1,000th career point. Happened last weekend at Bethany off of a J.C. Howard inbounds pass. How would you like to have a slam dunk alley-oop to punctuate your 1,000th point?
That's a memorable way to do it, that's for sure.
Isaac Turner also recently into the 1,000-point club here at St. Vincent.
McGovney, as it's 13-11. St. Vincent off the 2 free throw makes by Stite. He's up to 8. Elliott Pipes in the game, passes it off to Mays. Right-handed scoop shot. Nicely done. Tie game again.
I don't even know Drew Mays was looking at the hoop when he threw that up. He knew where he was on the court. I think he might have been looking at the baseline and some of the lane lines, but I don't know that he was ever looking at the hoop or the rim.
Pat Jones thinks about 3, but will back it off. Looks inside, directs traffic now as Stite comes up for the pass. Stite for the triple, and he hits it. Dylan Stite, the big man, he's got range and displays it there. 16-13 Bearcats timeout. Thomas More. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. 30-second timeout on the PAC Sports Network.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way.
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
As we return, inbounds pass, trapped in the left corner. Mays and the giveaway to Turner. Lay-in shot blocked by McGovney. Loose ball, though, to Jones. Still on the offensive. St. Vincent. Ball out of bounds, poke free by McGovney. Bearcats will retain possession. Also, just to correct an item, St. Vincent had called that timeout before break. So 1 timeout expended for each squad to this point, both with 5 remaining. Under 11 to play, first half. 3-point lead, Bearcats. J.C. Howard, cross court. Has Dylan Stite. Stite, nice touch off the window.
Thomas More really doesn't have an answer for that inside drive so far. We've seen Turner do it a couple of times, and we've seen Stite knife his way to the hole 2 of the last 3 possessions.
And for Stite, he backs him off. It hits the 3-pointer, and then you come up to guard, and he drives right past you. Not to mention that, of course, he's 6'5" with a tremendous vertical.
Well, that's his athleticism. The most athletic player in the conference, I think. Just able to jump out of a gym, can step outside, knock down a 3.
Mays tries for another scoop shot. Won't go this time. Clark tips out the rebound. Juggled and held onto by Stite. Between the leg dribble to the the crowd here at the Carey Center. Pass left, though, tipped by Pipes and stolen away by Jalen Clark for the Thomas More Saints.
I don't know that I want him running the point, though. Maybe not a point guard.
Pipes dribbles left out to Mays. Jalen Clark out to Mays, top of the key, and travels. Now stay tuned at halftime. We actually have 2 halftime features for you today, which we'll promptly get to as soon as we get to intermission. We have one focusing on each side. The Thomas More Saints looking at first-year head coach Drew Cooper and the new style and system that he has brought to the Saints. And it has worked to the tune of a 5-1 conference record. And also one of the road trips for the St. Vincent Bearcats. A miss and over the back on Dylan Stith. He has tremendous wingspan, but he was leaning heavily on DeCarlo Hayes there. Brandon Housley will re-enter with 2 fouls as Jalen Clark takes a seat, heading to the 9-minute mark of the first half. 18-13 St. Vincent.
Well, Drew Cooper saw what we were seeing, that St. Vincent much too easily getting to the baskets. He'll put in Housley to try and slow them down.
Elliott Pipes looks to the right corner. DeCarlo Hayes, double team on him. Bounce pass Housley, but the traveling call has been whistled on Housley.
A couple of possessions today. Unforced errors, really, by Thomas More. Just this traveling calls, getting no shot attempts on their possessions and then having to turn it back over.
Stith off the window, no foul. Drew Cooper out on the floor, and he's teed up by Drew Cooper. Well, he was about 10 feet onto the floor, maybe even more than that. Right in the official's ear, and he is teed up, and free throws coming for St. Vincent. He did not like the non-call, and that's putting it lightly, I'm sure.
Stith just going to the hole. Hayes stood in his way. No call was made. Cooper immediately out to defend his player, and immediately the official hit him with a technical foul.
Isaac Turner free throw. Makes it 21-13. Second one falls out. Well, the first-year head coach of the Thomas More Saints making sure his voice was heard here in the early going. Thomas More to inbound, and they do. And Drew Mays weaves his way through defenders, bounce past Housley, and he is fouled. Shot was blocked by Stith.
I think that foul will be on Ben Klimchak underneath, kind of undercutting Housley a little bit.
You are correct. Yeah, Klimchak pretty much upended Housley, and that was the foul. Housley misses the first. Housley a 67% free throw shooter. Thomas More, best of the conference in free throw shooting percentage. St. Vincent second in the conference. So if either team gets to the line, it's in their favor in terms of knocking those down.
That's kind of the finishing touches on a good program. What makes a good team great is being able to shoot free throws, whether it's at the middle of the games or at the end of a game trying to ice it. That's how you win games, how you cap off victories a lot of times, is shooting those free throws down the stretch, those tough free throws. And both these teams, veteran teams, they're used to those types of situations. We talked about Thomas More being in the championship game the last couple years, and of course St. Vincent winning the conference last year and off to the great start again this year.
Turner trying to create. Klimchak up to Howard for a three-pointer. Short on the shot, rebound. And this will be over the back on the Saints. Sean Kett.
Kett tied up with one of the Saints. Both of them reaching for that rebound. Saints player in position. Not sure who it was that was coming down. Thomas More, a lot of bodies down there, but
Brandon Housley.
Brandon Housley with the body position on Kett, able to yank it down in his favor, causing Kett to go over the back. And now St. Vincent back to his own defense.
7-point lead for St. Vincent, under 8 to play in the half. Pipes out of the right corner to Hayes. McGovney back to Hayes. Bounce look, Mumford. Hayes open top of the key. Nothing but net for the triple, 21-17. DeCarlo Hayes, both of his field goals from the outside. And we mentioned one of our triple three-point shooters today. Hayes living up to that. Isaac Turner around the screen left. Whistle away from the basketball. This is an offensive foul on St. Vincent.
Number 2 on Sean Kett, tied up with Brandon Housley. That would have been interesting if it had gone the other direction.
In quick succession.
Yeah, both Housley and Kett now with 2 fouls. Kett quickly to the bench.
DeCarlo Hayes walks it into the forecourt. Housley. Mumford inside, pipes, fade away, no good. Rebound goes to Isaac Turner. Finds Pat Jones, right side Klimchuk. Jones to Turner. Turner through 2 defenders, no good, however, and the rebound Housley. Now it's Hayes open for another 3. This time no good. Turner with the board.
The Bearcats were lucky that time, not accounting for Hayes as they were in transition. He had a wide open 3, but just rimmed out.
Of the 3 three-pointer attempts he's tried, that was perhaps the most open look.
That was definitely the most open look, the easiest.
Turner, offensive foul. Didn't quite catch who it was who drew the charge.
That was Housley, I think, that drew the charge.
St. Vincent foul on number 22, Isaac Turner, his first, team 6.
So Isaac Turner, the offensive foul, his first. 16 fouls on each squad, and we have a timeout here at the Carey Center. 6:17 to go in the first half. 21-17 Bearcats. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
5 generations. Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
As we return out of the media timeout, Drew Cooper with a more friendly conversation with our officials during the 1 minute of free time.
I don't know, that was an unfriendly conversation before. They just didn't want him on the floor.
Ball dribbled out of bounds by DeCarlo Hayes. DeCarlo Hayes coming back up the floor says that's a terrible call. And DP Harris with a smile on his face, almost as if he knew he got away with one, his Bearcats. It had that kind of grimace that on the face of DP Harris. The sights and sounds, the advantages we have when we're down here on the floor.
Post up,
Nice dish. Jones, Stith going for the dunk, but he comes up empty as the rim rejects Stith. And the loose ball to Brandon Housley. Well, Dylan Stith, you talked about his 1,000th point came on a slam dunk. That time we rejected, but he won't be fazed by that, I'm sure. But Thomas More trying to convert, but they will not be able to, as dribbling the ball out of bounds baseline is Spencer Burlingame.
Well, we've seen him with some nice throwdowns, and given the opportunity, I'm sure he won't let himself get rejected by the rim. I'm sure he'll punctuate a basket if he has another open look like that. That one maybe a little too far from the hoop to dunk it. Maybe just needed to lay that in.
I was up here at St. Vincent shooting footage for a W&J feature that we had earlier on in the season. Pat Jones with a miss, and Dylan Stith had an outstanding dunk in that game against W&J. That's what he gives you for the St. Vincent Bearcats. DeCarlo Hayes weaves through defender. Shot blocked from behind, though, by Klimchuk. Still a 4-point game, under 5 to play, and J.C. Howard with Housley on his hip, and that is Housley with his 3rd foul.
Number 33, Brandon Housley, his 3rd.
Well, he'll have to come out of the game now.
Yeah, you would think with 4:37 to go before halftime. No movement yet from the Thomas More bench. Now Chris Richard up and sort of checking in. I think he just ran off the bench. They'll have him go back and tap the scorer's table. He'll be in for Housley.
Yeah, if you're Thomas More, the hand has been forced for Drew Cooper.
Very low-scoring game so far in this first half. I didn't really know what to expect, but I didn't think we'd be in the, well, we're not even quite to the 20s with Thomas More, but 21-17. Didn't think we'd have that kind of score with 4.5 to go before halftime.
1-and-1 missed by Howard. So it stays a 4-point contest. Burlekamp inside, Richard all alone, 21-19.
Richard spinning off Dylan Stife. Stife tried to front him, that pass outside his arm length. And Richard able to grab it and lay it in uncontested.
Turner knifes in, but another offensive foul on Isaac Turner. That's his 2nd. Both have been charging calls.
Foul number 22, Isaac Turner, his 2nd. Team 7. Checking in for the Bearcats, number 31.
You know, for coaches, there's a method to their madness sometimes. And Drew Cooper, he was teed up when he was upset at a non-call. Wasn't whistled in either direction, whether it would have been a charge or an and one for Dylan Stife. But we've seen a couple of offensive fouls now go for Thomas More, go in their direction. Charged again, both to Isaac Turner. Burlekamp for 3. And Thomas More has grabbed the lead, 22-21.
Both these teams really stagnant offensively over the last few minutes. Thomas More kind of living a little bit just off these jump shots, these 3-pointers. They had a layup moment ago from Chris Richard, but it's really been the outside shooting so far that's been the majority of their offense.
Turner thought about 3, passes it off. Right back to him from the top of the key. Left-handed lay-in for Isaac Turner. Bearcats back ahead. He has 7, averaging 22 points per game this year. Well, we expected this one to be a tight one, and it is so far. 1-point game. Burlekamp bounce pass toward Richard, but beyond his reach. But it will stay with Thomas More. D.P. Harris, the exuberant head coach of the St. Vincent Bearcats, trying to buy a call. Not so. Thomas More lobs in the inbounds pass, does pipes to DeCarlo Hayes. 23-22 St. Vincent. Mumford for the triple. Mumford rattles it home, and it's 25-23 Thomas More.
And again with the outside shooting, 4th 3 for Thomas More so far. That's 12 of their 25.
Thomas More, some of those outside looks there progressively as this game has moved along, becoming more and more open, but Isaac Turner with the answer. Back up by 1 of the Bearcats. Isaac Turner in double digits with 10. Timeout St. Vincent. And this a full timeout. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
Affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
Back at the Carey Center on Fiesta Night, it's Daddy Yankee on Fiesta Night at the Carey Center. 26-25 St. Vincent, a couple of 3-pointers exchanged each side. Drew Mumford It put Thomas More up 25-23, but Isaac Turner, another one of our triple three-point shooters of the day, with the answer. And it's now 26-25 St. Vincent. You didn't know that was Daddy Yankee, did you?
I had no idea. I still don't know. Still have no idea.
2.5 to play in the first half.
That's your iPod, not mine.
I'm well versed.
Something like that.
That's what I'll describe it as. Burleycamp toward Mumford. Finds some space, the teardrop. And Thomas More ahead by 1. Mumford with 7. He averages 17 points per game, and he's really busted out this year for Thomas More. It has been a product, partly product of the system, but also a product of his own hard work. Also a product of the fact that Brandon Housley and Joseph Marshall were injured through the early portion of the year. Steal to Carlo Hayes. Pass toward Richard. Out of bounds left corner. St. Vincent basketball. And by the fact that Marshall and Housley were out, Mumford had to do more of the underneath work for Thomas More.
He was almost primarily a jump shooter, outside shooter a year ago. Now he's knifing to the hoop more, getting the ball in the post, in the interior a lot more, able to create his own shot instead of just basically being a catch and shoot kind of guy.
Inside pass, Stith tries to lob one over. A little shy on the shot, but gets his own rebound, then is fouled. And that on to Carlo Hayes, his first.
Team 8.
Stith first free throw. Buries that. He's a 68% free throw shooter. Tie ball game 27-27 in the first half. Deep breath for Stith. Second free throw, and it's a 1-point lead for the Bearcats as the lead exchanges hands. Seesaw battle here in the late stages of the first half. Chris Richard, jump shot from the baseline area, no good. Rebound though, May shot blocked by St. Vincent. And a whistle after that on the Saints.
Like J.C. Howard with the block, and then Chris Richard picking up the foul as we started to head back the other direction.
Now my vantage point was blocked by the officials, so thanks for the pick-me-up on the J.C. Howard block.
No problem.
1:08 to go in half number 1. Now it's Sean Kett with a trip to the line. Kett, who averages 10 points per game. On the 1-and-1, hits the front end, will earn a second shot. 9 team fouls on Thomas More, so anything more will have St. Vincent shooting 2. 7 team fouls on the Bearcats at this stage. Second try, no good. Rebound, Chris Richard. 2-point lead for St. Vincent.
1 minute remaining in the first half. 1 minute.
McGovney surveys. Richard, as Kett backs off. Burleycamp head fake. Howard in his face. Mays bounce past Richard. Trying to work in on Kett. Shot blocked out of there by Stith. And corralled by Klimchak, but tipped, still held on to by the Bearcats. Scoop shot, J.C. Howard, 31-27. Timeout for the Thomas More Saints. That's their second utilized. We'll keep it here as we're in the late stages of the opening half. And well, seesawed a bit. St. Vincent now increasing their lead to 4, but all in all, it's been a fun contest to watch.
Yeah, Saints doing what they're doing. That last possession, defensively and offensively, kind of epitomizes what they're all about. Strong defense, block shot at one end, running the floor in transition, layup at the other end. That time it was J.C. Howard, but we've seen them get to the basket all afternoon. Thomas More doesn't have an answer, whether it's in the half-court set or in transition. Just unable to keep the Bearcats away from the hoop. St. Vincent a little unlucky about the midpoint of this first half, a couple of shots didn't fall for them, and their offense went a little stagnant. They kind of went away from it a little bit. But they really haven't had an answer to the Bearcats just driving the hole and looking for layups.
Camp will slowly walk it up the floor as the shot clock is off with under 30 seconds to play.
Zone defense look from St. Vincent so far. No real motion from Thomas More on the offense yet.
And now the pace picked up. Camp has Richard. Trying to angle one over Stith. Put back, though, for Mumford. Drops in. Buzzer sounds. 2-point game at halftime. Nice job on the pick-me-up by Drew Mumford off the initial miss. And the Saints trail by just 2, 31-29 to the St. Vincent Bearcats. As we mentioned earlier on in the half, we have 2 halftime features for you today. And as a result of that, we're going to take a quick commercial break and then go to our first halftime feature. So to intermission, to the locker rooms, the teams go 31-29 Bearcats, and to our halftime features. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
Your St. Vincent.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way.
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
Drew Cooper is in his first season as a Thomas More men's basketball coach, arriving after a successful stint as the assistant men's basketball coach at Division II Bellarmine. At Thomas More, winning is tradition, and it is Cooper's job to elevate the men's basketball program by capturing a conference championship for the first time since 2009.
Thomas More, it's a college that I've been familiar with all the way through high school. I went from St. X High School in Louisville. Several of good friends, some of my best friends in life, came up to college here and played at Thomas More and had great careers here. David Green, who is the second all-time leader in assists and second all-time leader in steals, he's a great friend of mine. Hugh Wright graduated from Thomas More in 2000. So that and the proximity from Louisville with which is where I was born and raised and where my family is, my extended family. So when this position opened up, and it was a no-brainer for me to pursue, and I'm thrilled to be here.
I was excited. I know he came from a very successful program, so I knew he had a lot of experience coming from a great coach and great program like that. So I was very excited when he got the job.
It's a pleasure to be around guys like Jimmy Hilbert, like Jeff Cummings, like Jeff Hands, like Jeff Hetzer. It's to be in the same staff meetings, to be on the same campus of guys that are used to winning championships. It's absolutely something that you take with you, and there is an expectation here that Thomas More should compete for conference championships. So that being said, we're looking at the men's basketball program and how many conference championships we've had. We're so pumped to get the program to the places that some of these other programs have been and are right now.
Different philosophies, so it's a good thing to understand that this is not last year, this is this year, new coach, and he's going in a different direction, but to embrace it and get better as a team for this year.
The Saints are getting better. After back-to-back appearances in the PAC championship game the past 2 seasons, the Saints slogged their way to a 2-9 start this season, battling a rugged non-conference schedule and undermanned roster due to injuries.
A lot of it is simply the way that we've responded, to some of the adversity that we've gone through. The becoming what we need to be in late February and March. playing a schedule like this, it only helps. It only helps. So we've put in a lot of work in the film room. We've put in a lot of work on the basketball floor, and there's no question that this basketball team has come a ways in the last couple of weeks.
Since the beginning of January, the Saints have been one of the strongest teams in the PAC, running off 4 straight victories as they return some veteran players from injury.
From a recruiting standpoint, you can't have too much experience, with recruiting. And there's a saying in Kentucky that donkeys don't win the Derby, and I'm a believer in that. And I'm a big believer in player development. I'm a big believer that you commit to the players that committed to you and that spend their 4 years, their precious 4 years with you as their head coach. You have to invest in them.
Communicates good with me. I mean, we're from the same town, so we have a lot in common there, and we have a pretty close relationship and talk sports and off the court a lot, so it's a pretty close relationship. I knew him a little bit, not a whole lot. He coached in Louisville at Bellarmine and actually scouted some of my teammates, so I kind of knew him but kind of didn't. So,
yeah, I think if you have 16 players on the basketball team, I think you got to communicate with in 16 different ways. I think is the best way to put it. And my philosophies as a coach, it stems from I think unselfish basketball. On both sides of the floor. One of the things that as assistant coach at Bellarmine University that we pride ourselves on was our field goal percentage and our assist to field goal ratio. And we were able to lead the country in field goal percentage in 2011. We led the country in field goal percentage in 2012. And earning unchallenged shots is something that we took pride in. So
Coach Cooper puts a lot of work into the opposing team and, scouting them and what they do. So that's what he focuses on a lot. He's very detail-oriented, and we respect the work he puts in. We try and get out there and execute and stop the other team on defense and the plays that they run.
With everyone we talked to, the words that kept coming up were details and detail-oriented to describe Cooper. And it's that kind of focus that caught the attention of his team.
Coach Cooper, he's really detail-oriented. He likes to he nitpicks at every little thing as far as practice and film work, which he works really hard in studying and knowing the game and knowing where everything is supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm big on routine. I think the young men need to wake up in the morning and have an idea and have a concept of what to expect as they go about a game day or even a practice day. I think it's very it's really the only fair way to do it, because if they walk into something and they're not sure what to expect, then you can't get on them too much about not executing those tasks, I guess is the best way to say it. So when we go through a walkthrough, it's not as much about the physical beating and banging. It's more about being mentally engaged and having our top 8, 9, 10 guys be able to talk through what we're going to be defending. I'm a big fan of loud practices. I'm a big fan of loud walkthroughs, and it's less about walking out of there physically exhausted and all bruised up, as opposed to walking out there and say, hey, we're ready to go tonight.
Well, we try not to look too far ahead. We try to just, every day is a new day to get better.
We have a basketball team of classy young men. I mean, we really do. And watching film from last year to this year, the systems, they are dramatically different, and I think that they've embraced that there's 10 different ways to skin a cat, and that some of the things from last year to this year are dramatically different for them, and that's they've taken it on. They've taken it on, and that's why I'm optimistic that these next 2 months we can make special things happen. It's because of the way they've adjusted and the way they've just demanded of themselves to come on. So it's been a remarkable couple months for Several different reasons, but it starts with the quality of individual that we have on this basketball team. Couldn't ask for much more.
Traveling over 2,500 miles for a tournament is nothing new to the Bearcats.
We take a trip every year. We've played in Vegas, we've played in Miami, Florida. Way back when we took the team to Amsterdam. At one point, way back, they went to Paris and played. But we want to give our kids every opportunity to take a trip every single year.
Which is why they boarded a plane and left the cold of Latrobe for the sunny skies of California.
It was awesome. It was perfect because it was so cold here, and then when we got there, it was nice and warm and the skies were clear.
The Bearcats took in a lot of sights in their 3 days. First up was a trip to Alcatraz, a place that Coach Harris had been wanting to take his team since his first visit to the Bay Area.
I have been to Alcatraz, and I really credit to our president, Brother Norman Hips. When I went to Alcatraz, I went with Brother Norman, and we were walking down to get back on the boat, and I said, you know, Norman, Brother Norman, I'd love to bring our team here one day and play. And out of the blue, a team called us to play. And then later on that year, I talked to Norman and said, we're going to take the kids to Alcatraz when we're out there.
It was kind of creepy because it had been raining all day, so like weird creeks.
A lot of people were walking around by themselves. I think people wanted to get scared, honestly.
There was a part where you could just go into one of the cells, and just being in one of the cells, having to be so small and stuff, it was just kind of weird being in there.
They took us into this one cell. It was called the Hole. That was it was for the real bad prisoners, and they would only keep them in there for I think a week or something at most. But it was pitch black 24/7, and they only got to shower once a week, and it wasn't nice. But they let us walk in the cell, and it was just kind of creepy being in there.
This trip included many firsts for some of the players, one of which their first NBA game.
I'm from Pittsburgh, and there's not an NBA team there, so that was the first NBA game I've been to.
All of a sudden the lights come on, and you have the dance team, and you have the cheerleaders, and the music, and the entertainment. There's so much more going on than the game. And then you see the players in real life, and you realize, wow, how good they are.
It actually went to overtime, so we really got our money's worth. It was a great game to watch.
It was really interesting. I think some of the guys seen things they had never seen before.
California wasn't all fun and games for the Bearcats. They did have to play some basketball. The team came away with 2 wins, the chance to play in a unique arena, and a visit from one of the most interesting mascots in college athletics.
And the facilities were phenomenal to take our kids and play in an MBDL arena. It was really a lot of fun for them.
It's pretty big, actually, and I think the court is actually a little longer since they have the NBA three-point line. So that was a little different to play on, but it was fun.
It was different. The referees called the game a little bit differently. It was a lot more physical.
I had been to the school before. It's very unique. And I went with one of our vice presidents out and as we traveled the country. And it was a place where I'd never heard of a banana slug.
Coach DP was weirdly hugging it. It was confusing, but it was pretty cool.
I did get a hug from the banana slug.
The last activity on the list was a team favorite that made it difficult to come back to Latrobe.
No one really wanted to leave California because we went to the beach, to a beach kind of, right before we headed back, and everyone just wanted to stay there.
We kind of just walked around and took pictures and stuff, and that was probably the most fun for me because it was I don't know, it was just a perfect day for that. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't cold.
I want to get to know our older guys, and I want them to know how much I appreciate it. So out in California, there might just be a time when I pull Isaac away from everyone else. And you want to tell guys like that, bring your family here one day.
California and all of the experiences are something the Bearcats will remember most about their basketball days. But the time to bond got them ready for the season ahead.
Getting them on an airplane, getting them to stick their feet in the Pacific Ocean, and getting them, like you said, the bond, to sit on the beach and talk and experience Santa Cruz was wonderful.
And we spent a lot of time on the basketball court together, but just being away from school and just sleeping in the same hotel and just being together 24 hours, we just got to know each other.
Whenever a team can get the chance to do things off the court like that, that's a great bonding experience for us. And I definitely think for the freshmen especially, it was a good bonding experience, and we all came a lot closer.
It was an action-packed 3 days. They didn't sleep very much. but there was a little bit of really good basketball played while we were out there. And I think that tournament really jump-started us.
The score 31-29 as we are at halftime, approaching the start of the second half. St. Vincent with the 2-point lead. And statistically, both teams tight in field goal shooting percentage. Thomas More at 50%, 11 of 22. St. Vincent 11 of 23 at 48%. Rebounds, Thomas More with the edge, 14 to 13, including 5 rebounds each by Chris Richard and Brandon Housley. Turnovers, essentially the difference in the game. 3 more turnovers by Thomas More than the Saints, and that's why, or excuse me, than the Bearcats rather, and that's why the Bearcats have a 2-point lead at intermission.
That was a weird first half in terms of feel. You didn't really get a whole lot of flow or great offensive basketball there in that first half. And it's hard to get a feel on how these teams read each other. We've seen these teams play, you and I, and these teams have seen each other, obviously. A lot of veterans out here on the floor, and just kind of got the feeling that one team not would take it over, but would really dictate the pace. And we saw a whole bunch of different kind of styles, paces, attacks towards the basket. Thomas More kind of relying on the outside game. St. Vincent at times relying on the inside game, but really neither team getting a stranglehold on this game in terms of pace or in terms of being able to impose what they really want to do offensively.
Largest lead in the first half was 21 to 13 favoring St. Vincent, but Thomas More erased that with a 9-0 run. And then the lead fluctuated from that point on in the waning minutes of the half. Thomas More to start the second half. McGovney misses. Tip in won't go either. Stith with the rebound. J.C. Howard bounced past to Sean Kett. In traffic, he travels.
And that was just Kett not being able to receive that entry pass clean. Fiddle around with it around his feet. And by the time he corralled it, ended up being a traveling violation. Just not a good entry pass, a tough pass to receive from J.C. Howard, and it had to be because of all the traffic, but it was a tough pass to catch clean just because it wasn't right in his wheelhouse.
Joseph Marshall, haven't seen that much from him today, and he was one of the 5 starters. Miss the tip by McGovney. Back of the iron floats out to J.C. Howard.
Well, he's really been neutralized by the St. Vincent game plan, keeping the Saints away from the hoop.
Long rebound off the miss out to J.C. Howard, and also no Brandon Housley to start the second half. That's because he's playing with 3 threes as Ben Klimchak knocks down a 3-pointer, 34-29.
Well, that's Ben's first basket of the game, but you know if you're a Saints fan, you have to get chills every time you hear Klimchak open for 3.
If you're anyone in the PAC, hearing that Klimchak for 3, whether you fear it or you're thrilled by it, one or the other, it's definitely a phrase that warrants respect. And there's a nice right-handed lay-in with the spin off the window to Carlo Hayes. Hayes with 8 points. But as we were talking about Brandon Housley with 3 fouls, Joseph Marshall beginning the second half with Housley on the bench is pinned to the sideline, Burleycamp, but fouled with J.C. Howard on his hip.
Checking in for the Saints, number 5, Elliot Pipes.
That's a first on Howard. So Drew Cooper playing it safe with Housley so far. And the rebounding edge with Thomas More in large part because of the work by Brandon Housley today. Now you have to manage that. Burleycamp for 3 from the right wing, no good. Rebound Stith as he skies over Mumford. Howard will push it. Stith top of the key, swings it left to Klimchak. Around a screen by Stith, right back to Stith. The big man dribbles baseline, but a foul upcoming on Thomas More. And it's Joseph Marshall.
Thomas More foul, number 45.
Second on Marshall. Rematch of last year's PAC title game. Same location. Dylan Stith floater off the front of the rim, then drops through the nylon. Stith with 17 points.
Yeah, huge first half double figures real quick. First couple minutes of the game, kind of went away from him in terms of running the offense through him in the post. We'll see if they go back to that. It's a good start there for the Bearcats.
Drew Cooper not satisfied with the execution of his team on that offensive set, so calls a full timeout. We'll take a break. 36-31 Bearcats on the PAC Sports Network.
You're seriously in debt. You know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located
back at the Carey Center, under 17 to play in the second half. 5-point advantage for St. Vincent. Elliott Pipes slithers in, kicks it out. Left corner, juggled by Mumford. Double team collapses on him as Mumford dribbles the ball off his body out of bounds. Turnover to St. Vincent. DP Harris with the play call to our right from the floor for his teammates, or excuse me, for his team, is Sean Katz with the left-handed lay-in. Full court defense now for St. Vincent, but breaking the press. Thomas Moore, Elliott Pipes head fake, lets Stith pass him by. The try on the three, no good. Offensive glass, Burlekamp with the long board. Looking inside to Marshall. Marshall, who had some key minutes in the PAC championship game last year. Trying to provide some key minutes right now, but Elliott Pipes with the scoop shot on the foul.
What a move by Pipes. Going right around Sean Cat, feeling Cat on his hip, able to draw the foul, contact, and the basket. A very athletic play by Elliott Pipes. On around essentially left-handed, then having to switch, being on the right-hand side of the hoop, having to switch left to right while the contact was there.
Top shelf athletic play by Pipes, cannot convert the free throw though. 38-33. Stith out to Klimchak. Now right side, Howard dribbles through a double team, but fouled on the floor by Burlekamp.
Number 11, Spencer Burlekamp, the second.
2 team fouls on each squad. Second foul on Burlekamp today. Howard floats it into Stith, looking for the alley-oop, but it hits the backboard, and Thomas Moore with the steal. Pipes juggles the basketball away. St. Vincent possession.
Well, we've seen that a lot today. Thomas Moore just being sloppy with the basketball.
Checking in for the Saints, number 10, Drew Mays.
And Drew Cooper with some words for Pipes as he heads in his direction on the bench.
A couple times Saints either dribbling off a foot or throwing it out of bounds to a teammate that wasn't on the same page. We've seen a couple of traveling calls, but kind of been out of sync at times offensively. Unforced errors, unforced turnovers.
Stith draws the blocking foul on Mumford. You're assuming make that Isaac Turner rather. And Turner will shoot 2 at the line.
Thomas Moore foul, number 21, Drew Mumford, his second.
Second foul on Mumford. Isaac Turner from Winter Park, Florida, 6'2", 185-pound senior. Drains the free throw.
Another game going on right now in the PAC with 15 minutes to go. Bethany leads W&J 45-39. Game was tied at 30 at halftime.
Isaac Turner drains both free throws. This is a 30-second timeout for St. Vincent. We'll keep it here as the Bearcats have a 7-point lead. Again, the largest lead of the game has been 8 points, 21-13 in the first half for St. Vincent, but Thomas More erased that with a 9-0 run. And as we are in the early stages of the second half, it's a 7-point advantage for St. Vincent.
A crowd behind us is getting into it. Fiesta nights, we have some appropriate wear and music here.
We noted at the outset of the broadcast a piñata at the Carey Center, along with other stuffed animals, although the piñata most fun because it's stuffed usually with candy. Out of the timeout, frantic possession in the backcourt here for Thomas More. They beat the 10-second violation, and wide open Mumford for the lay-in. Well, it started out frantic, but it ended with a deuce.
Yeah, just barely able to get that ball across midcourt, and they were about 26 ticking to 25 when they finally had it across the timeline, but from there it was smooth sailing. Easy lay-in for Mumford on the other end.
Turner, baseline, weaves through, blocked, but the foul. It's on Mumford. That's his third. Housley and Pipes ready to check in for Thomas More.
Fouls starting to accumulate just a little bit individually for both teams. Housley and now Mumford, 3 fouls each for Thomas More. Sean Kett, 3 fouls for St. Vincent. Spencer Burlekamp, 2 fouls. Joseph Marshall, 2 fouls. Also Isaac Turner, 2 fouls. So a few folks gathering some fouls kind of quickly. Still a lot of time left in this game.
Turner up to 14 points, connects on both free throw attempts. 42-35. Pipes to Richard in a double team. Tip in by Housley, 42-37. Housley, his impact instantly felt upon his reinsertion to the game. Stith on Richard. Shot blocked by Chris Richard. Loose ball corralled by Housley. You don't see that too often, Dylan Stith being the man rejected, but that was the case there.
No, Richard caught that on the way up too. Stith gets that ball, his wingspan extended. There's no way that shot's getting blocked, but Richard, good job getting hand on ball as Stith was bringing that up, and that's really where the block originated.
Richard on the offensive end, trying to muscle his way in on Jones, but Stith with the board. Able to ward off McGovney and Richard. His transition game for the Bearcats. Turner loses the ball out of bounds.
And that was fortunate for Thomas More because the Bearcats were beating the Saints down the floor. Definitely had numbers, and Turner was turning the corner there, looking for an easy basket.
Last touch by the Saints. Possession belongs with the Bearcats. Fuqua for 3. Short on the try. Stith with the rebound. Stith in traffic. Put back does not drop, but shooting 2 at the stripe. Foul on Nate McGovney. McGovney was one of 2 players that could have been called for a foul there, as both were draped all over Stith.
Yeah, it looked like McGovney got his arm locked inside of Stith as he went back up with that shot. Final from the one early game in men's action. Grove City 3-point winners over Teal, 57-54. I like that Grove City team a lot. The record maybe not quite as indicative of how much or how well they play together. That's a dangerous team. If they can shoot the basketball, that team can beat anybody in the conference if they can get their outside shooting together.
Stith connects at the line. And then checks out for Sean Kett, 43-37. Mays bounce look to Richard, out to Housley, head fake, drives the lane, and the right-handed lay-in off the window, 43-39. Thomas More trimming the deficit.
And that was a veteran play by Housley. I don't know if he realized it or not, but it looked like he realized Ket was on him with the 3 fouls, knowing he could take him right to the hole. With those 3 fouls, Ket hands off, and that's exactly what happened.
And both of those players with 3 fouls, Ket and Housley. Good recognition by Housley offensively as Chris Richard will exit, re-entering Jalen Clark for the Saints. J.C. Howard to the left of our broadcast perspective, inbounds it to Ket. Ket with the laner over Clark. First try won't go. Put back, though, with the right hand.
Stat pattern. Pass to himself, collect the rebound, and I can collect points.
6 points for Ket. Well, you're talking about Grove City a short time ago. They are certainly a scrappy bunch. And when you look at the PAC tournament, however the bracket will shake down, Grove City's one of those teams you don't want to face because, I mean, they're certainly a talented bunch led by that junior class. And their overall record won't wow you, but they're hanging in there 4-3 in conference play. And right now, as the standings currently sit, they're in 4th place. Of course, W&J in action against Bethany right now. Jalen Clark shot blocked, but they put back Housley. That won't go. Rebound, Klimchak.
Yeah, of the teams that are in that next tier down, not the Thomas More, St. Vincent Bethany tier, but that next line down, that's the team that I would say a majority of teams in the conference. Of course, anybody could be a bad matchup for any given team, but that's the team that you probably don't want to see yourself across from.
Klimchak from way downtown, and it's 48-39. Well, that's another repetitive phrase, Klimchak from way downtown. And a near steal, but Mays able to beat him. Bounce pass, Housley, no good. Fighting for his own rebound, can't get to it. Klimchak with the board.
All right, big possession here.
Klimchak downtown again, no good. Fuqua with the rebound.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull up for 3. No one really coming out to contest him.
The intensity picked up a notch. Arrow with St. Vincent.
Ben Klimchak bringing a bunch of energy, not just with that 3-pointer. He hit the deck moments ago, fighting for a loose ball. Didn't come up with that one, but again, he hit the deck right there. Great energy, energizing this crowd, helping St. Vincent expand this lead.
Isaac Turner into Pat Jones. Turner, shot blocked by Clark. And out of bounds. Last touch by the Saints. Housley, I believe, was the last to touch it as he knew Clark had blocked it, so trying to get there.
Checking in for the Bearcats, J.C. Howard.
J.C. Howard to inbound baseline. 9-point lead for St. Vincent, matches the largest lead of the game. Or excuse me, that is the largest lead of the game, my apologies. Ket with a rebound, put back off the underside of the rim. Up ahead to Clark from Hayes. Clark will try again, is blocked and fouled from behind. Should be Howard. And it is.
St. Vincent now on number 5.
Jim!
J.C. Howard is third.
Jalen Clark unable to convert the 3-point play, but it is a 48-41 game. Clark out of Frankfort, Kentucky, and Western Hills High School. Sean Ket, the bucket and the foul, and that is the 4th on Brandon Housley. Under 11 minutes to play, Housley with 4. And that was a good way to create there by Sean Ket, as he basically, not only did he earn the bucket, but he forced that foul on Housley. Of course, Housley could have resisted temptation, but he could not resist it. Even more than the bucket, getting Housley out of the game is significant for St. Vincent. It's the free throw to convert, and it's now a 10-point lead. Ket with 9. Ket out of Miami, Florida.
Yeah, a couple of kids from Florida on this Bearcat team. Ket, Isaac Turner from up the road a little bit, more in the middle of the state in Winter Park.
McGovney tries to back his way in with resistance from Turner. Out to Clark for three. Air ball. Rebound underneath, though, by DeCarlo Hayes. Hayes crosses over on Howard. Put back by Clark, and it's 51-43. No, offensive work for Thomas More on the offensive glass. And they're holding their own. Turner. He gets the foul drawn on McGovney. That'll be his second. Up to 17 fouls. No, excuse me, that is not a foul on McGovney. That is an offensive foul on Turner, his third, and all three have been offensive fouls. So erase that. It's only one on McGovney, but charge the foul to Isaac Turner. 17 fouls still remains for Thomas More and 5 team fouls for St. Vincent at this point. Hayes has the ball poked free, but McGovney there to scoop it up. McGovney to Hayes, baseline, touch pass, Clark the bucket, and one.
A couple of tough takes by Jalen Clark, getting hacked and throwing the ball off the glass, getting it to fall a couple of times there, and he's doing good work around the hoop. Really keeping Thomas More in this game. For a moment there, it looked like St. Vincent with that double-digit lead was about to take a stranglehold of this game.
Three-point play converted, 51-46, so lead was 10, now it's 5. Pressure D from Thomas More. Handling that St. Vincent quite easily. Pat Jones back to Howard. Now it's Jones, guarded by Hayes. Looks to Stith up top. Passes it off to Howard. Stith, he'll throw up the three-pointer and he'll knock it down. Dylan Stith with his second three of the game. Give him 21. Drew Mumford finds Hayes in a double team out to Clark. Now it's McGovney. Hayes head fake, gets around Turner, pass to McGovney, pipes right wing. Nice duck under move, finds Clark. Shot blocked though by Ket. Turner walks it into the forecourt. I remember in the first half when Stith knocked down a three-pointer, then he immediately went to the hard drive and tries the same, but Thomas More ready for it as they strip it free. Here's Clark, gets that one in right in front of Sean Ket. Ket almost had the block on that one, but Jalen Clark doing some big-time work here, has 7 points all in the second half, and really all coming over the, actually make that 9 points for Clark, and all have come in the second half. And most recently accomplished as well by Clark.
Yeah, just the last couple minutes, he's been the one to put the Saints, at least offensively, on his back. We haven't really heard a whole bunch from DeCarlo Hayes here in the second half. Just one basket. He had the 2 threes in the first half. Just one field goal in the second half for 8 points.
Foul on Pipes is first. Remember talking before the W&J Thomas More men's game and with assistant coach of the Presidents, Tom Drakely, and he was very impressed with Jalen Clark. And he's not one, is Clark, that's talked about most out of this Thomas More group, but he is proving exactly why some of the other coaches in the conference think highly of him. I mean, he's a physical specimen. He can get up at 6'2", but somewhat similar to Housley, where he plays a little bigger than his size. And certainly playing big today. But Isaac Turner with some free throws, hits 2, it's 56-48.
Being unafraid to play inside, whether it's offensively or defensively, it's a big characteristic to have. Saints are lucky to have a couple of players. Unfortunately, Housley right now has been in foul trouble for most of the game, and his influence really hasn't been heard from to the extent of which he's capable of.
Housley, speaking of which, is back in the game as Clark earning a rest. But look for that to be the exchange at this point in the game. Clark for Housley and vice versa. Mumford for a 1-and-1 hits the first.
Manny, get ahead of the ball! Get ahead of the ball!
Mumford, 89% free throw shooter. Team leader in steals with 22. Measures up both free throws, giving him 13 points today.
Yeah, he's perfect from the field today, 5 of 5, and also perfect at the line, 3 of 3. Hasn't had kind of touches in scoring positions that he's been accustomed to that really help out that average.
Sean Kett trying to work in on Housley, and he does so successfully, and that's playing with 4 fouls. Housley could not be as aggressive as he normally would, and Kett took advantage of that. He has 11. Lead back up to 8 for St. Vincent. Open for 3. Mumford short on the shot, gets his own rebound. Through the paint, lofts one up left-handed, no good.
Ben Klimchak able to get a hand on that on the drive, may have dislodged that ball a little bit or just altered the shot as Mumford went up.
Under 7 to play. Howard has Kett off the pick and roll. No good on the first try. Kett gets his own rebound, and he won't miss on the second.
That's where the Bearcats are going to find success here down the stretch, working it inside to Sean Kett. Dylan Stith in the paint. Right now, Saints really have no answer. All guards on the floor, and Brandon Housley playing with 4 fouls.
Stith with the block. 10-point lead for St. Vincent, a chance to expand it past that for what would be the largest lead of the day. It currently is matched now at 10, 60 to 50. We had a 51-41 advantage for the Bearcats earlier on in this half. Howard to the right corner, Turner for the triple, and St. Vincent up by 13. Isaac Turner with 19 points today, and Drew Cooper calls a timeout. We'll keep it right here at the Carey Center, and it was back and forth. It was at 10 points at 51-41, as we talked about. Then Thomas More cut that lead in half and had been working at that range between 5 and 8 points, and then suddenly a spurt here by the Bearcats, capping the run. That Isaac Turner three-pointer that has lifted the Bearcats to a 63 to 50 lead. And the home folks at the Carey Center, as we mentioned, it is Fiesta Day at the Carey Center. And on our camera, you can see the St. Vincent cheerleaders donning their sombreros, rooting on the homestanding Bearcats and trying to rile up the rooters here at the Carey Center. The Thomas More Saints, they've faced this type of crowd before, twice last year, including the PAC championship game. They fell in overtime of the regular season. And St. Vincent won in the championship as well, 81 to 67. Thomas More out of the timeout with under 6 to go. Will turn it over, and then a foul. Sean Kett with the steal, and Burlekamp with a frustration foul. Sean Kett at the free throw line. He's a 75% free throw shooter. Hits the front end of the 1-and-1. We're talking about Jalen Clark and what he has done in the second half for Thomas More. Sean Kett is that for St. Vincent. 14 points and 12 of the 14 in half number 2. hits the second free throw, give him 15 points now today.
And he's always been kind of the mark of consistency for St. Vincent. He might get a little overshadowed in the interior with Dylan Stith, and obviously Grant Latis, who's not out here right now, had an injury at the early part of the year. But with those guys around him, maybe get overlooked or overshadowed or underappreciated, but he's as consistent as they come in the conference. Free throw shooting, being able to defend, and also being able to score in the post or step outside.
Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Missed by Hayes off the left side of the backboard. It's a 15-point lead, and Thomas More in a precarious spot now.
Need a big game. Sean Kett did last year in their NCAA tournament game. Isaac Turner as well, but it was Sean Kett down the stretch that really kept the Bearcats in that game close.
And there's Kett for the rebound. Put back, drops it into the cylinder. How do you do, Sean Kett?
You know, it's those kind of plays, off a miss, offensive rebound, knowing what to do with it, go right back up with it. Has a nose for the basketball, able to finish around the hoop. St. Vincent back to the zone, going to keep Thomas More along the outside.
Hayes cranks up the three-pointer to temporarily quiet the crowd at the Carey Center, and a timeout. We'll pause for a break as well. Full timeout on the floor. 67-53 St. Vincent on the PAC Sports Network.
When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
Back from the timeout, 67-53 the score in the second half, favoring the Bearcats. Lead was 51-46 St. Vincent. Thomas More was trailing by just 5, and then a 16-4 run has opened things up. Moments ago, DeCarlo Hayes hit a three-pointer before the timeout to draw it to within 67-53. But with under 4.5 to play, Thomas More needs some stops and some buckets. Sean Kett, from a tough angle, draws the foul. Now, Kett feeling it right now. He wants the basketball.
Thomas More foul number 13, Chris Richard, his third.
Third foul on Chris Richard. Kett up to 18 points. The average is 10 per game, so well over his average. The swish. 19 for Kett. Jalen Clark spins around from the right wing as Mumford. Mumford slides in. Nice dish off the screen to Chris Richard for the right-handed lay-in.
Now, the focus for the Saints now needs to be defensively. It doesn't matter offensively how many more points they score if they can't get a stop on the Bearcats here.
Klimchak guarded tightly by Burleycamp. As Kett, Richard diving for the basketball, hits the deck, dish to Stite, drops it in, 71-55.
That Bearcats feeling it now in the interior. Kett and Stite doing great work.
Well, with a healthy lead, there's no reason to do much else. Out of bounds off of Mumford as it slowly rolls out of bounds.
Oh! Hey, hey! Watch out! Wheel! Game cut! Game cut! Wheel!
J.C. Howard bounced past to Stite. J.C. Howard around Mumford. And a foul on Chris Richard. That'll be his fourth.
Be on the floor. It won't matter. It should be 2 shots anyway.
That Thomas More well past 10. And St. Vincent, everything is 2 at the line. I mentioned that Thomas More, the top free throw shooting team in the league at 78%. St. Vincent second at 74%. You put either at the line, you'll see few misses. Howard, the point guard, with 5 points today. Makes it 6. If you missed our women's game earlier on, as we have a timeout for St. Vincent, and again, we'll keep it here with just under 3 minutes to go, 73-55 Bearcats. If you missed the women's contest, Thomas More, the undefeated and 6th ranked Thomas More Saints, picking up another win, 89-64. Devin Beasley, the point guard for the Saints, breaking her own single game mark with 18 assists, as she had achieved 14 on Wednesday night against Westminster to break the Thomas More record. So we had a record-breaking event in game 1, and the reigning champions here in game 2, the St. Vincent Bearcats, doing work. So both reigning champions, one already with a win, the other might be on their way to a victory as they are in a comfortable spot.
Well, Beasley with 32 assists in 2 games. You won't see some players get 32 assists in an entire college career. That's unbelievable. The way she sets up her teammates. We talked with her after the game, and that'll be online on our website and on our blog and everything. But we talked with her, and she seems just content with not scoring baskets, just setting up her teammates, and that team continues to roll. Just like this St. Vincent Bearcats team next to us. They're just playing unbelievable basketball right now, almost through the first half of the season. Still one more game before that midway point. That happens Wednesday, but just for the first half of the year, you gotta like what you see out of St. Vincent, and they picked up basically right where they left off at the end of last year. This crowd, this team, everything.
Thomas More in possession out of the timeout. And just to reference where you're talking about Beasley, 32 assists the last 2 games. Chris Richard with the deuce. The team leader for the Thomas More men's team is DeCarlo Hayes with 45 assists. So what Devin Beasley has done the last 2 games is remarkable. Right now it's the Thomas More men trailing St. Vincent 73-57 and time running out. Burlekamp whistled. Should be his 4th.
Checking on this other game that both these teams will be interested in, Bethany and W&J. Just a 4-point game right now. Bison leading 62-58. That would be a mild upset if the Presidents were able to come back and knock off the Bison. Bethany in first place and tied with St. Vincent until the 2 met a week ago. St. Vincent obviously came out on top, so Bethany with 1 conference loss, tied with the Saints right now in that department. So that could change. That could change both ways by the time that this day is done.
The floater for Mumford. 15-point lead for St. Vincent. Ramping up the pressure, Thomas More. Isaac Turner has the ball stripped free by Richard, but hauled in by Dylan Stike.
Plenty of time to shoot, still 20 on the shot clock. He'll be very patient here with this possession.
Looking for Klimchak in the right corner was Turner, tipped out of bounds by the Saints.
Still 11 to shoot. Tough spot to inbound it along the sideline. No, maybe not. It's more towards the middle of the court than I thought.
Into Klimchak, guarded by Mumford. 7 on the shot clock. Howard will crank it up from deep. No good. Rebound Richard. Thomas More will have to work quickly. Ahead to Mumford. Mumford, ball stripped right out of his hands by Howard. Howard slithers through defenders, gets the ball free to Turner. And Turner fouled, as he was told he would be by D.P. Harris. Charge the foul to Jalen Clark. Turner with 20 today with that free throw connect. Just shy of his average of 22 points per game. Turner, the conference leader in scoring and rebounding. Second free throw of a lane violation on Klimchuk. It was missed anyway. Oh, this game has had a similar feel as to the PAC Championship, where Thomas More was very much in it from halftime into the early stages of the second half, and then St. Vincent pulling away.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Thomas More had a halftime lead in that game. I think it was maybe an 8-point game or 6-point game at halftime, and then the Bearcats stormed out after halftime. You're right, Randy, very similar feel where the second half surge by St. Vincent really led him to a win.
And St. Vincent wasting time off the shot clock, just trying to milk the clock. Ball lost out of bounds by Stith, but with 37 seconds to go, this one firmly in the hands of the St. Vincent Bearcats, who have a 75-59 lead. St. Vincent will improve to 14-2 overall and 7-0 in conference play. Thomas More will fall to 6-10 overall and 5-2 in the conference. And Justin, I know, will keep his eye on that Bethany W&J score as we move along. If we get a final before we go off the air, we shall see.
Still a couple minutes remaining in that game.
Jalen Clark, the finger roll lay-in, uncontested. Brings it to 75-61. Clark in double digits with 11.
That'll be just about it. Drew Cooper calling off the troops. They'll just get it across midcourt, and time will tick down.
Stay tuned in our post game. We'll hand out our Foster Law Office's player of the game, and we have several to choose from today. Well, on Fiesta night, the St. Vincent Bearcats, in front of their home crowd at the Carey Center, win it 75-61. We'll take a break. Again, stay tuned. Our Foster Law Office's player of the game when we come back on the PAC Sports Network.
It affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
And we're back at the Carey Center on the PAC Sports Network. As it's 75-61, St. Vincent defeating Thomas More in men's action. So a doubleheader split today. The women of Thomas More with the winning game one. Game two, the St. Vincent men, 75-61. And we'll run through some quick numbers for the Thomas More Saints. Jalen Clark and DeCarlo Hayes with 11 each. Drew Mumford with 13. And those are your double-digit players for the Saints. For St. Vincent, Isaac Turner with 20, Dylan Stith 23, and Sean Kett with 19. As we work our way to our Foster Law Office's player of the game, want to give big ups to Sean Kett in this one. 19 points, 17 in the second half, but hard to ignore the work of Dylan Stith. He was there in the first half, there in the second half, hit 2 3-pointers. 23-point evening, game-high score. He's our Foster Law Office's player of the game.
Yeah, both of them just monsters in the paint today. Dylan Stith, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Sean Kett, 19 points, 6 rebounds. Both of them shot over 50% from the field. Just all-around terrific effort from them today. And St. Vincent, just always a tough matchup playing against Thomas More, and always tough coming in here to the Carey Center. But I think we saw a great game today between two of the premier men's programs in the conference. First of 2 scheduled matchups right now. Thomas More, I feel like it's a completely different team every single time we've seen them. From the first game we saw against Grove City, this team has grown leaps and bounds and is one of the top teams, is trying to cement themselves again in that top part of the PAC. But this is a team that continues to get better as the year is going on, and of course St. Vincent really has hit no stumbling blocks. A couple of losses this year, but no stumbling blocks in the conference. They're still cruising along through their PAC schedule.
Yeah, St. Vincent still has not been beaten in the PAC in over a year, and that continues to count. That continues to grow. Speaking of growing, the Thomas More Saints continue to grow in the system of Drew Cooper, and you can sense that they're feeling more and more comfortable playing in that system and just relying and setting up the open shot and continue to pass around for the uncontested look. And they did that well in the early going today. I think Brandon Housley getting into foul trouble was a big issue for the Saints this afternoon and evening, and that ultimately certainly hurt Thomas More, but was one of several factors, of course, with St. Vincent and their domination of the paint. It was a matter of time, and tip of the cap to Thomas More for holding their own, but St. Vincent won that inside game, and we'll see what happens in the rematch later on in the season. Certainly the Saints will be waiting for the Bearcats, but in round one, St. Vincent takes it here in 2014, 75-61.
Yeah, this was a fun afternoon of basketball. Let's see, four talented teams, counting the women's action also we saw earlier. It's great basketball. Always exciting when these two teams get together, and we've had the chance to see them battle last couple of seasons. I think we've had this game on the schedule, Thomas More at St. Vincent, every year, and it never seems to disappoint. The doubleheaders have been tremendous basketball, and these crowds too are just unbelievable. These guys show up and root on their home team.
Yeah, we've had it. We've been in business, so to speak, 3 years. The PAC Sports Network working these basketball games, and every year we've had this game at this site on the schedule, and as you said, it doesn't disappoint. Two of the best schools and teams in the conference, whether it be women's or men's action, and it lives up to its billing. Again, Devin Beasley with a fantastic afternoon, setting a new single game mark, breaking her own single game mark for the Thomas More women. And the reigning champions in men's action, St. Vincent, getting the 75-61 victory. So that just about does it from here for our producer, Shannon Basic, our cameraman, Don Sluka, Kat Guyan, who was our floater today, if you will. For my partner, Justin Piles, I'm Randy Gore. 75-61 in men's play. The Bearcats defeating the Thomas More Saints today. And also Wednesday night we'll be right back here as the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets come to the Carey Center, as we'll have continued PAC coverage of men's and women's basketball. So looking forward to that one as well. So that does it from here on the network. Doubleheader split. The women of Thomas More with the win, the men of St. Vincent with the win as well. We'll talk to you on Wednesday on the PAC Sports Network.